There comes a moment in every soul's journey when silence becomes loud, and the mirror of life reveals what we tried so hard to hide. If you listen closely today, this message won't just speak to your ears. It will speak to your wounds. It might break you, but it's only in breaking that something deeper gets revealed. Something greater, something eternal. There's a sacred violence in the kind of pain that opens your eyes. Not the pain that destroys you, but the kind that exposes what you've been blind to. What you've accepted as normal, what you've tolerated for too long. That kind of pain doesn't ask for permission. It crashes in and wrecks every illusion you've built for safety, every wall you've raised to avoid truth. It doesn't whisper, it roars. It forces you to look at the broken parts of your life, not with shame, but with holy confrontation, because only what is faced can be healed, and only what is healed can be used. We serve a God who never wastes pain. He's not intimidated by your wounds. He doesn't flinch when you cry out. In fact, he comes closer. He draws near to the shattered pieces of your soul, not to pity you, but to awaken you. You see, pain can either be a prison or a passage. It can chain you down, or it can crack open the door to destiny. But the choice isn't made in the pain itself, it's made in your response. So many of us pray for comfort, but comfort never produces power. If you want anointing, if you want authority, if you want to carry fire, you don't get through ease. You get there through surrender, through letting the fire burn off everything that cannot go with you into the next season, through letting God undo what you tried to hold together in your own strength. We've been told that pain is a sign of failure, that struggle means you've done something wrong. But what if pain is actually a sign you're getting close to something holy? What if that pressure you feel is the tension between who you were and who you're becoming? The breaking is never about destruction, it's about transformation. Just like a seed must break to release what's inside, your breaking is revealing the purpose God planted in you long ago. The truth is, there's glory on the other side of agony, but you won't see it if you run. Don't escape the very thing that's trying to awaken you. Don't silence your H. Lean into it. Let it speak. Let it carve out deeper spaces for God to fill. Because when he fills the places that broke you, they don't just become healed. They become holy. You may feel shattered, but God does his best work with pieces. He is the one who forms beauty from ashes, strength from sorrow, purpose from pain. So don't despise the breaking. It's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one, a story where you don't just survive. You rise, awakened and armed with truth, baptized in fire, ready to set others free. Pain is not the enemy. Sometimes it's the invitation you've been praying for, wrapped in a form you never expected. Don't miss the invitation. There's a war happening inside too many of us, a quiet, constant battle between who we pretend to be and who we truly are. We've become masters of masking, experts in avoidance. We say we're fine when we're breaking. We perform strength while hiding wounds that never healed. But what we refuse to face begins to define us. Darkness doesn't lose its grip because you ignore it. It loses its power when you drag it into the light. So many of us live in fear of our own past, our own thoughts, our own buried pain. We're terrified that if we stop running, if we let silence speak, it will consume us. But the truth is, what you don't confront will eventually control you. Avoidance is not protection, it's slow destruction. The enemy doesn't even have to defeat you when he can convince you to hide from yourself. But you were never called to live in hiding. You were born for freedom. There is nothing the enemy fears more than a woman or a man who is fully awake to their authority. But that awakening only comes when we stop running from the shadows and start shining light on them. God never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to be honest. He doesn't need your polished version. He wants your whole heart, raw, surrendered, real. That's where healing begins. That's where chains break. That's where the enemy loses his grip. It's time to get honest. What are you running from? The grief you never processed, the rejection that shaped your worth, the shame you wear like a second skin. Whatever it is, God is not afraid of it, and you don't have to be either. He already saw it. He already knows. And still, he calls you chosen. Still, he calls you his. Freedom comes at a cost, and that cost is courage. The courage to look at your past without letting it define you. The courage to name what hurt you so it can no longer haunt you. The courage to take back the territory fear has occupied for far too long. You don't need to be ashamed of the darkness you walk through. You just need to stop letting it lead you. God is light, and in him, there is no shadow that cannot be exposed. You're not too far gone. You're not broken. You're not too late. But you do have to stop pretending. He can't bless who you're pretending to be. He wants to restore you, the real you, the one buried beneath layers of pain and performance, the one he designed with purpose before the world ever wounded you. So stop running. Let the light in. Let God meet you in the very places you've tried to avoid. Because the moment you stop running is the moment you start rising, not in your strength, but in His. Whole, free, fully awake. Let today be the day you stop hiding and start healing. You've believed the lie for far too long, that because of what you've done, what's been done to you, or how far you've fallen, you're disqualified. That your story has no redemption, that your brokenness makes you unworthy, that you've missed your moment. But let me tell you something loud and clear: God does not throw people away. His mercy rewrites the stories we thought were over. His grace finds us in the middle of our mess and doesn't just cover our shame. It transforms it into strength. The enemy has whispered accusations into your soul. You're too damaged. You're too much. You're not enough. And tragically, you've started to agree with him. But what if the very things you think disqualify you are the things that mark you as dangerous to the kingdom of darkness? The scars, the tears, the failures, they're not the end of your calling. They are the birthplace of it. You see, God doesn't need perfect vessels. He's never once asked for performance. He's drawn to surrender. There's a difference between guilt and shame. Guilt says you did something wrong. Shame says, you are something wrong. And shame is a liar. Shame binds your voice. It steals your confidence. It builds walls around your heart that keep healing out and fear locked in. But Jesus didn't go to the cross so you could live in shame. He went there to break it. He bled could stop bleeding internally. He died so you could stop dying slowly behind a fake smile and a well-curated life. So no, you are not too far gone. You are not beyond repair. If there's breath in your lungs, there's still purpose in your life. God is the ultimate restorer. He is not just in the business of fixing. He makes all things anew. He takes broken people and builds unshakable foundations out of what once seemed shattered. That includes you all. Let me say this: the fact that you're still standing, even if barely, is proof of God's hand on your life. The storms didn't take you out. The betrayal didn't erase you. The failure didn't define you. You are here, and that means there's still fire in your bones. You may feel like a mess, but you're a miracle in the making. The enemy wouldn't fight you so hard if you weren't a threat to hell. So shake off the dust. Stop counting yourself out. The enemy doesn't get to write the end of your story. God does. And He is not finished with you yet. Your past is not a prophecy. Your wounds are not your identity. You're not disqualified. You're being refined. And if you'll surrender the ashes, He'll hand you a crown. Because you're not just enough. You're called, chosen, commissioned. Right now, just as you are. Don't wait to be perfect. Be a present. God uses the willing, not the flawless. You are not too late. You're right on time for a resurrection. You were never meant to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You weren't born to blend in, to be silent, to live a life of survival when you were created for significance. Heaven did not breathe life into you just so you could go through the motions, silencing your voice and settling for a life that doesn't reflect your God-given purpose. There is more in you. There's always been more. And somewhere along the way, life, disappointment, rejection, maybe even religion, convinced you to mute it. But today, I'm here to remind you, you were made for more. You don't need to apologize for your fire. You don't need to explain your boldness, your passion, your dreams. God wired you with fire in your bones for a reason. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you all. That means you carry resurrection power. That means you are a carrier of a kingdom authority. So why are you still asking for permission to be who God already said you are? Stop second-guessing yourself. Stop playing it safe. Safe doesn't change the world. Comfortable doesn't transform lives. You are not called to a small life. You are called to kingdom influence. That doesn't always mean a platform or a spotlight. It might look like leading in your home, raising warriors, speaking truth in your circle, being a pillar of light in a dark place. But no matter where He has positioned you, He's called you to be dangerous to the darkness. And you cannot be dangerous if you're living diluted. Too many of us are living beneath our calling because we've become addicted to the approval of people who were never meant to steward our destiny. When did we start trading the voice of God for the applause of man? You weren't made to live based on what others think of you. You were made to move when heaven speaks. There's a roar inside you that's been silenced, a roar of righteousness, truth, love, and boldness. It's time to awaken it. It's time to stir up the gifts inside of you and release what God placed in your spirit. Don't bury your calling just because it intimidates you. Don't minimize your purpose because others are uncomfortable with your growth. You are a weapon. You are a solution. You are anointed. And when you step into that truth, fully, without shame, without apology, the atmosphere around you, has to shift. Hell knows your name. That's why it's tried so hard to silence you. But what hell doesn't understand is that the crushing only produced oil. The fire only refined you. And the resistance only made you stronger. So rise, speak, move. Write the book. Start the ministry. Forgive, heal, build, love, lead. Whatever he's placed in you, do it now. Because you are not here by accident. You're here on assignment, and heaven is waiting for your yes. The world has tried to shame you into silence. It has told you that your scars disqualify you, that your brokenness makes you weak, that your past marks you as unworthy. But I want you to hear this in your bones. The very thing the world tells you to hide is often the very thing God wants to use. Your scars are not symbols of defeat. They are evidence of survival. They are proof that the enemy hit you with his best shot and you're still standing. Scarred, maybe. Shaken, yes. But it's still hurting. Still rising. We've allowed culture to convince us that only the polished, the perfect, the filtered versions of ourselves are acceptable. But God doesn't anoint perfection. He anoints authenticity. He steps into the places you thought disqualified you and says, that's exactly where my glory will shine the brightest. He is not afraid of your brokenness. In fact, he is drawn to it because brokens in his hands don't stay broken. They become weapons of healing for others. What the enemy meant to destroy you, God will use to deliver others. Every tear, every loss, every betrayal, every moment you wanted to give up but didn't. It all carries weight in the kingdom. And the moment you stop hiding your pain is the moment it starts becoming someone else's freedom. That's the power of your testimony. That's the beauty of redemption. You are not a victim of your past. You are a weapon forged by fire. And those scars, they carry authority. They speak a language that polished perfection never can. When you walk into a room marked by what you've survived, your hell trembles. Because it knows you've seen the pit and you didn't stay there. It knows you've walked through fire and came out carrying glory. The enemy wants you to be ashamed of your past because he knows your past carries power. If he can keep you silent, he can keep others bound. But if you dare to rise and speak, if you dare to show your scars and tell the story of how God met you in the mess, you become unstoppable. Not because you have it all together, but because you've surrendered it all to the one who holds everything together. This world doesn't need more people pretending to be okay. It needs warriors who are willing to say, I've been through the fire and I still believe. I've been broken, but I'm not bitter. I've been scarred, but I'm still standing. Your story in all its mess and mercy is a declaration of war against the darkness. So don't hide your scars, or wear them like armor. Let them preach. Let them sing. Let them remind the world that redemption is real, that Jesus still restores, that nothing is wasted in his hands. You are not marked by what broke you. You are marked by the one who healed you. There's a sound heaven is waiting to hear. It's the sound of you waking up to who you are, waking up to what you carry, waking up to the reality that we're never meant to live asleep while the world burns. You weren't designed for lukewarm living, for half-hearted faith, for delayed obedience. There is a divine alarm going off in the spirit, and God is saying, enough slumber. It's time to rise. Too many have been lulled into spiritual sleep by comfort, distraction, and fear. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can just keep you dormant. If he can numb your hunger, dull your discernment, and bury your boldness, then he's already won a quiet war. But your silence has lasted long enough. The time for hesitation is over. You don't need another sign. This is the sign. This moment, right now. You don't need to be more qualified, more perfect, more prepared. You just need to wake up and move. God is calling the sleepers to rise, not just to be awakened, but to become awakeners. This world doesn't need more spectators. It needs sons and daughters who walk into chaos and carry peace, who look at the darkness and don't run, but stand. The ones who have fire in their eyes and authority in their voice. Not because they're loud, but because they're rooted in truth, anchored in purpose, fierce in love. You are not powerless. You're not invisible. You are not random. There is a roar in your spirit that's been waiting for release. You don't need permission to be dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. You already have access. And with access comes responsibility. You don't get to stay asleep once you've heard the call. To know who you are in Christ is to be responsible for that truth. It's not just a revelation. It's a commissioning. But awakening starts with you, but with your pastor, not with your friends, not with a worship song or a Sunday sermon. With your yes, your surrender, your willingness to confront everything that's lulled you into passivity, to stand up even when your knees shake, to speak truth even when your voice trembles, to rise up even when you feel unqualified. You were born for such a time as this, not yesterday, not someday, now. And every minute you spend doubting yourself is a minute the enemy steals from your destiny. Shake off the slumber, cast off the lies, silence the fear. The world is waiting for the sound of your footsteps, the sound of someone fully awake, fully alive, fully aligned with heaven. It's time to rise, warrior. Time to burn bright in a world that's gone dim. Time to live like you're chosen, like you're armed, like you're called. Because you are. Wake up, stand up, speak up. The time for sleeping is over. You were born to awaken the world. But first you must awaken yourself.